Hello, everyone. Welcome on in to the GrindhouseDBD, back to the Frostfront Trials. And we've got a little bit of a special treat here today. We've been watching a lot of Mastermind, and no, it's not a blue map. We're actually onto the green pastures of Autohaven. It's Nurse Wrecker's Yard, and this time we've got it between Archon and Sinners. Wrecker's Yard, we've seen it a few times in other leagues. It's not super traditional. You know, you think of Nurse, you think of the standard coal tower. Good tag coming through immediately. Fats is immediately into chase with Wee Jason here. Sinners maybe not off to the best survivor start, but a quick double tap is going to be so huge here. And you need that on a Nurse set. A quick down like that is going to be crucial. But look at these perks. A little bit bizarre is the loadout here for a Nurse player. And remember, before we get into this, I want to say there is no deli allowed in this rule set, but is that what's that ghost face perk here, Autumn? What is
Looks like
that?
I'm all ears to me.
I'm all ears, yeah.
Yeah, so Survivor, Vault's Window Palette, Killer Goods, Aura Reading. It's going to be helpful for... I mean, I think the biggest time it comes in handy is if a Survivor does some weird pathing, gets a window live, like a Vault with live, and then tries to break LOS quickly, the Nurse could just blink right on top of it. I think that's when it comes in handy the most. Otherwise, it's just generally decent Aura Reading. We see another tag coming in across the map, though, very far away from the hook. Doesn't seem like Fats is wanting to play around a tunnel out early or anything along those lines. Which, if you saw last game, ended up biting the killer slowly. Especially, you know, Nurse doesn't get pain res like Wesker does, so there's that, but she's definitely has faster chase than Wesker does, so there's, you know, trade-offs there. But either way, tunnel out is important no matter what killer you're playing, so even not getting a tunnel out as Nurse can be very detrimental to your game as a whole.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I think Nurse is one of those killers where you don't really have the luxury to just cross the map and go chase to chase to chase. She just is not mobile enough for that, in spite of how she teleports. Her cooldowns are just a little bit too long. Great juke coming out from the survivors and Sinners here, though. Sweet Child doing a great job at Crane. Vinny likewise doing at this tile 9. Make it to the shack, though, and I'm wondering if this this perk here is going to come into handy at this vault here. I mean, I'm all ears given that aura reading on Nurse. It's a little bit cheeky. You know, Nurse with aura reading is a lot more dangerous than a Nurse without one. Gotta play this 50-50 on those pallets, but no, Vinny gets tagged through it, and again, no tunnel onto our Wee Jason here, who's the first hook, so might bite him here, but back to what I want to talk about with Nurse Macro. You really just want to get your tunnel out and hold that gen lock. It's not really common strategy to just go all over the map and just start tearing up all the survivors you can see, because in this kind of level of play, the survivors are going to know where to die, stay away from the active gens, and the lack of mobility on Nurse is just going to bite you, but we'll have to see if Fats can keep up these chases. Might be a different story.
Yeah, especially when you're playing against a really experienced team like Sinners. Ooh, not get the tag there. When you're playing versus a really experienced team like Sinners, coming into it not getting the tunnel out, it seems like you are putting yourself at a massive disadvantage. This team's been around for a while. They've definitely played their fair share of Nurse sets, so coming in here and you're just going to struggle if you don't get that tunnel out. We're going to keep saying it because it is just that important. There is a reason why tunneling is the most efficient strategy, and kind of always has been. It's because playing versus 3 survivors is much less pressure than playing versus 4 by like a large margin. I don't have the exact numbers or math because every game's different, but it is very noticeable. No tag coming in here either. This is cross ping too. I'm kind of surprised some of these hits aren't landing. These are crazy swings that they're going for, though, that's for sure. But another unhook comes in onto Vinny. You see another tag here coming in onto Sweet Child. We do get the I'm all ears value here. Seeing exactly how they're pathing this tile, they can probably blink right on top of them. They do the last second double back, and then they come around the corner here, and there's the down. Value out of I'm all ears right there. That's exactly the moment where it comes in handy. You see exactly how she passed the tile. You see what direction she's going to go, and then you land right on top of it. So there's the down coming in onto Sweet Child.
Yeah, very, very clever use of the perks here from Fats. I think Wrecker's Yard, it can be a bit more challenging for Nurse. You have a lot more awkward collision. You can have those dead zones happen, and there's a lot more dumpsters and little fillers to kind of hide yourself behind. But I do feel like Wrecker's Yard is a lot easier to catch rotations. And look at Sinners. We talked about earlier how you want to adapt to the kind of killer you're playing against, and they're just on top of these unhooks instantly, saying if you leave this hook and you're not going to camp, well, we're going to be keeping the pace of the game up with you. And At a fast pace like this, we need injuries a little bit faster. Sinner's just doing a great job to run this Nurse and avoid these tags, but Jason does get tagged in the corner at 9 here, but look at this death spot. I don't think there's any gens over here, so as far as Sinner's going, this is going straight to plan.
Yeah, exactly. Landing these unhooks so quickly because there's nothing to stop them from doing it, and also another thing is will make it is allowed versus S tiers, and sometimes you don't always see will make it value on a map like Cold Tower or even on a map like Wrecker's Yard. They're both relatively small. You get the unhook, you can't always get that reset off, but if the killer decides that they want to abandon every single hook, the will make it value is insane. Like, you're going to get such fast heals consistently, and there's going to be no pressure, no injuries. Now, Fats does have Jason on death hook, so if he would like to go back at the right time and get that tunnel out, he might land some higher stages here. But we do see another generator popping. We know there's progress on another. There's no more regression in game. The rune is out of play. There's no backup regression. There's no eruption, no pop. He banked everything on that rune essentially with the surveillance and then the animal use for chase. We do see the double back here again. On the same survivor, we see the Eyeball Ears value. We do see the unhook coming in across the map on Jason, and Jason is broken, so we can only assume that that's going to be second win. So once again, another fast reset coming in. Not going to be able to be punished by Fats. He wasn't there to tag or down after the endurance runs out. So it's just going to be another free reset. And this time, survivors aren't even going to have to reset. They're just going to be working gens the whole time. So this is an uphill battle for Fats for sure.
Yeah, but he does have a little bit of a nice hook here. You know, you've got this nice line of gens here from 4 to Shack to, what is that, about mid-12. And so I wouldn't be surprised to see Fats make a little bit of use of this hook. I mean, you are Wrecker's Yard, you're right. It is a bit more open than Cold Tower. So you can spot these rotations from survivors. You can kind of corral them into these corners. And poor Sweet Child has just been catching all the Eyeball Ears procs. They must be thinking, this guy's cheating. I cannot flare him. But Fats makes it in time to this unhook, and there is Sweet Child in the chase, but with base kit BT, they're certainly going to make something. Fats just going to put him into mending, but this whole time that Gen at 12 is being cranked, and Fats is just screaming, trying to get this down in time, sends a random Biblio to try and predict Sweet Child. You can see the pressure is on them. They want this down so much, but if my game sense is correct, I think that Gen's going to pop for this chase, even if he chooses to hook now. And what a great play from Sinners. If we don't see that gen pop, though, this gen lock into 3v1 could be so crucial, but there's the decisive strike, and that is a terrible, terrible boon for Fats. This might be the calling of the match here with that play, and yep, Sweet Child just going to admit defeat and die in this corner here, but certainly away from the gen, and there it is, the gen pop thanks to his efforts. Sweet Child doing a great chase there.
Yeah, it's so unfortunate. Fat spent the whole game not tunneling, just going for hook after hook, and then the one time he decides, okay, now I need to kill him, decisive strike, just instantly punished him.
Yeah.
That is crazy bad luck, to say the least. Sweet Child going to be dying here in the end game. We're at 6 stages. If Fats can get another down here, another kill on anyone, it would be very beneficial. 6 stages is relatively low for a Nurse result, so it's gonna be hard to match that. Looks like they're just gonna take their 3 out, and yeah, that's gonna be 6 stages coming in here on Fats' Nurse. So yeah, pretty exciting first game of Nurse on the Wrecker's Yard. We'll see you guys in a bit to wrap this up, get the conclusion, and see who gets the W here. So we'll see you guys in a bit.
Hello, hello. We're back to the Frostfront Trials, back with Archon versus Sinners, and this time we're going to be having SMS play our Nurse. We just got off of Archon's killer Fats, getting a 6-stage 3 fresh on the Nurse, a quick tag coming through, and again, we saw this in the last Nurse set. A lot of quick tags, a lot of quick first chases. This map just has a tendency to have those quick chases like that. What a great pair of blinks here. And immediate another tag coming through. SMS looking really dangerous on the Nurse this set. And I was about to say, this map, due to the nature of the survivor spawns being so predictable, we already have 2 downs immediately. What an explosive start. This is a Nurse set, ladies and gentlemen. WinCon is 6-stage 4 fresh or 7 stages, if you just want to put it that way. But, man, looking pretty good so far. Autumn, talk me into this match.
Well, I think this match is pretty much talking itself right now. You know, if we were going into the very beginning, I'd say the survivors have to play extremely cautiously the whole time. Not play groups up, not allow for snowballing, pressure, lots of gens. But the game's already started and 2 survivors are down and next to each other too. So this is going to be very hard to recover from, to say the least. Also seeing some of the perks that they have in play and who got hooked. Therefore, the people is their first hook. No other anti-tunnel on that player. It's just, ooh, it's not ideal. And also the lack of gen pressure they have. They have this survivor who is just waiting here to get either the pickup or the pull. But only one survivor's on a gen right now. But we do see that the pull is going to be coming in now. They're going to be getting that on hook, which is very important here. But now the only way they can come back from this is strong chases, and it's Nurse. And it's very hard to have strong chases versus Nurse. But it's not impossible. I've seen recoveries from positions that are worse than this. So it is still possible. You see a short blink coming in, really good blinks there, and Fats is going to go down once again. Another hook coming in here for our Nurse player.
Yeah, just really explosive start from SMS here. I think Wreckers just has a tendency to kind of have that situation arise. And look at this, we're going to be hooking all the way in this corner 3, so you can kind of corral and hold this choke point. Nixie was doing a great job, though, to force that unhook and kind of recover from that situation. Archon Survivors not bowing out just yet in spite of that difficult start for them. This team seen playing in a lot of tournaments, so they're definitely not pushovers. They are known to be playing well when they need to, but Nova expects a little bit of a different movement from SMS, but just simply walks calmly into them and just hits a quick blink, and that's an immediate down. No good fillers to hide behind for Nova, so he just accepts defeat and dies in the corner at 1 there. But look, I've got a survivor on a hook in this corner, 2 injuries and a slug. This is just so dominant from SMS. I mean, Sinner's Nurse player is just looking unstoppable here. And Ruin Undying still up, still progressing the game. So anytime as they're leaving those gens and going for rotations for these pulls, it's just going to be eating their gen progress away. And SMS, look at them. They're just like a hound on the hunt. They know the survivors are in a desperate situation. We've got a survivor, Mr. Next Time, cranking this gen at 7. Nixie going for the pickup on the slug, but everyone's injured. This survivor's dying on hook. There's no way they can pull him.
Yeah, with everyone being injured, it's impossible to get that rotation unless they can somehow sneak by the killer, which is kind of, I think, the attempt here with the lucky break. I think that's why she was waiting until the killer looked away and then double backed. But, you know, SMS knows, hey, there were 2 survivors here and I only see 1, so the other one must be going for the unhook. Turns around and sees her, blinks right on top of her. It does not end up working out. And that's going to be Fats dying on that second hook, too. So that's going to be the first kill coming in at 4 gens, which is much faster than we saw the first kill in the last game. And with that undetectable coming into play, decided not to blink for a while, so the survivors had no idea where she was, turning Nurse into Ghostface and getting that down on the gen. We see 2 survivors on the ground. There is still an Unbreakable in play. Or actually, no, I think our Unbreakable died on hook, if I'm not mistaken. So they don't have an Unbreakable to help get them out of the situation. So this is looking very dire. It does spot the last survivor too. And just making her way, walking over to this survivor, just trying to find exactly where she is before they blink. Not going to be able to get to the window, though. Not going to be able to get that tag onto Mr. Next Time. Mr. Next Time, though, running away from both slugs. So I really don't think... Oh, no, I was wrong. Never mind. Nova was down over here. My bad, from the rotation from the pole earlier. Does get to pick up no Wiglif in play, so that's going to be, once again, another down coming in. And now Mr. Next Time running his way to these other survivors, going back and forth between the survivors, trying to keep at least a couple people up at a time. But in a 3v1 position, it's just not easy. And that's going to be... He's trying his best here, but that's just going to be the down right there. And that's going to be another down here onto Nixie. That's going to be a 4K4 coming in here for Sinner's Nurse player. SMS on the grind here, getting that 4K4 on Wrecker's Yard. And definitely, I'd say, needing the win con. What do you think?
Undoubtedly. I mean, this guy came in and just put on a show here. I mean, while we're waiting for these slugs to get picked up and hooked on our match, I just want to talk about this match and kind of the key difference here. And for any viewers who are watching, kind of thinking about comp macro and, you know, bringing it into your own games and trying to improve, this is where you can see the difference in teams and team play and the killer player as well. You know, everyone brings what their skill set is to the table, and there's a lot of room for mechanics, but at the end of the day, DBD is mostly a macro game, I feel like. And SMS just knew where people were rotating. He held his hooks. He had his hook in the corner and just run around the map and caught rotations. And when you're finding these rotations on Nurse, a killer like Nurse, where you cannot expect to run her, you will be getting injured. That is what matters most. You just have to spot those rotations, stop these survivors from getting things for free, and you'll get results like that. And we just saw it in great play there. Wrecker's Yard, it's a small map. It's not as small as Cold Tower, but it's so important that you can visualize these survivors' rotations and stop it from happening. And that's what we saw today. And SMS put up a really strong result, 4K4, for that and their efforts.
Yeah, I 100% agree. DBD is mostly macro. I think a lot of people like to focus on like 1v1 aspect, chases, things like that. But that doesn't help you a whole lot when you come into play with some of these killers that, people don't like to admit it, but some of these killers are oppressive in chase, extremely oppressive in chase. It's not just Nurse either. There are other ones too. Pre-nerfed Chucky, for example, was a great example of a killer that
Mm-hmm.
had such insane chase that you couldn't rely on your team having great chase. Dracula, another great example of a killer that just has a very, very aggressive chase power. And that's not to say that these killers don't have counterplay. There's obviously counterplay to every killer in this game, especially in chase. But the macro is just so important when you have to make up for the lack of chase time, playing around your positioning, your death locations, which gens you're pressuring. When you do things too, the timings of rotations are so, so important in these kinds of games. So while neither of these teams are bad teams, we just saw much more mistakes from Archon's side, which again, it happens. It's high stress. You're playing versus Sinners, which is one of the best teams in the world. You're going to be stressed out during the game, and that does cause more macro mistakes to happen. That's just kind of what happens over time. We see this in every team. This happens to the top teams. Elysium versus Eternal. You see both of these teams making lots of mistakes still, regardless of the fact that these teams are thought to be close to perfect, right? Because DBD is a game of mistakes, so no matter how good you are, you're going to mess up. So this is kind of like what we're saying is this example of like seeing the macro differences between these two teams, right? It's not that one team is necessarily like so much better than the other. It's just that in this current matchup, one of them played very well and the other one made more mistakes. And that's what DBD is all about. So
Yeah.
that being said, that's going to be the win for Sinners. And we're going to be heading into our next match here very shortly. So we will see you guys soon after this break.